Hey everybody, welcome back to the Crossover Cinema Podcast. We are reviewing film, series, media releases, but before we start, let us introduce ourselves real quick. My name is Carlo.
And I'm Kaya, y'all. You already know what it is. We're here reviewing the latest episode of Agatha All Along, in which we got the final reveal of the true identity of teen, Wiccan. With an interesting backstory to boot, a car crash, a bat mitzvah, a nice boyfriend, a lot going on, and then, what is it? Not mind control powers, telepathy. So, all that being said, I think we got a clear understanding of Teen's role in this entire series, the implications of all the sisters and the along the Riches Road, and along with that, Agatha's actual intentions for Teen and what she knew about him all along. On that note, let's get right into it.
Let's start with the backstory of Teen. We saw before he got his accident and how he became Billy. Essentially,
yeah. Which is a clear, I think a clear influence from the comics that the idea of these souls kind of leaving the bodies of what Scarlet Witch manifested during WandaVision in Westview and watching those manifest in the bodies of other people, and the souls of those people having a circumstance that allows Billy, or in a possible case Tommy's soul, to go into other bodies and to embody the traits of those kids. So it's very interesting to see the way they're trying to do that, and to give, I think, both sides of Billy's character the breadth that they need. Getting to see his origin. He was happy. He had this nice family life. He was celebrating his bat mitzvah. There was this clear cultural angle to it, and I think it all worked. You know what I mean? I think it really made Teen feel like there was this heartwarming backstory to him that I think grounds him in a lot of ways, and then at the same time shows where the influence would come and how Agatha could kind of shape him in a lot of respects.
I get it. I don't know why with that episode, I'm not gonna lie, my interest went down a little bit, and I wanted to know, I wanted to ask you if you maybe know why some interest went down. I don't know if it's because the episode was more like a casual kind of episode that we saw more the backstory of what's happening, but for me, it's a little long. I wasn't hooked in that episode like I was in the one before, when
that's the thing
down like that.
I feel like
I was on a hype, I think, and I didn't get that adrenaline rush that I wanted,
that you expected, I think, in a lot of ways.
But I got that song again.
Yes, you did. They said we found a way to put it into the episode. Let's make it diegetic.
Every 2 episodes,
yes.
Man, it's a great way to put it, slowly, but it's there,
and it's catchy. It's got a vibe to it. I think the song is a little bit played out, a little bit. I think I could have done for just some regular score being used in that moment, and I think maybe giving Billy a theme in a certain way, I think could have worked a little bit better here. Maybe a rendition with the ballad kind of beat going on, but I think where this episode could lose steam for a viewer is it doesn't have that exciting big drop. There is the reveal from last week, but that's what's carrying you over into this week's episode. Your interest has to come from the fact that you genuinely are what's this mystery with Billy, right? And Teen. Yeah. And I think it works for the most part, but I think when you don't have, I'll use an example, right? You've got Ralph Boner who shows up, and I feel like he was such a hyped up cameo in WandaVision initially, and for that to not really turn into anything and manifest really kind of cheesed a lot of viewers. And I feel like here you're kind of getting a bit of the same thing, where there's this opportunity for a big cameo, a big moment. I saw him from the back in the parking lot, and I was like, oh, maybe Mephisto, he's coming as a hobo, and he's or maybe maybe we're gonna get some reveal about Scarlet Witch, maybe her not that she's gonna have a presence here fully, but that her presence would be felt overall. And I feel like it's kind of taken a step back because the focus is really on the brotherly relationship between Billy and Tommy, carrying that over and letting that be the fuel for Billy's journey in the Witch's Road. And I feel like that, for me, that really works. I think on a comic book level, it's a little bit it's a given, like in the sense that Scarlet Witch is the kind of character who inevitably will link up with her children. I think that finding that natural way to let that progress and let these characters gel before that happens, I think is what this show is trying to do and starting to establish. But I feel like some of the steam is lost in the sense that it's not that exciting. It's an interesting reveal, and you're getting a lot to kind of gel
and
with.
we got some characters back. We got Shannon back. We saw how they met everybody. Everybody was
Exactly.
like in his life
In some way, shape, and form, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that was interesting. But yeah, for me, it wasn't necessarily the episode that I'm hooked on. I'm still curious. I want to see the next one. But
I think that has to do a lot with the episode mostly taking that halt to do the origin and like truly not being two halves. I think if this episode was one half
but
origin,
right now, two characters died in that mud like that. We don't really know for sure. They're not dead. We're gonna see them back, but it wasn't like for me yet. Like I was like, okay, another kind
it
of.
felt like a bit of a
stopgap,
stopgap, you know, like a bit like we took a construction detour for a little bit, and maybe some people like watching the building get built, but I don't think everybody does, and I think the way that this can kind of be, I guess, not salvaged, but I think brought together fully is a lot of, I think, great set pieces towards the end, I think, that are really like pertinent to the plot. And I think finding a way to make the reveals with Lilia and what we do with Teen and Billy Maximoff overall for the rest of the show, I think having a real relevance and a poignancy in the MCU. I feel like Lilia is a character that, because we now know her presence in his life was extended beyond just the Witch's Road sequences and whatnot, I feel like we're going to have a little bit more to work with her. And I feel like next week's episode should allow for that to grow. But at the same time, I feel like because this episode ends with that intensity between Agatha and Billy, I feel like that's going to be the main shtick, that like tension between them. And will they actually become friends again? Will there be that mentor-mentee relationship? Or is it just all going to devolve, you know? In that respect, I'm excited to see where it goes with that, especially with Agatha's character and what her presence, you know, does for the rest of it. Because now she's kind of been outed.
Exactly. In that episode, Agatha was very mean, let's say, was very on the dark side. We didn't see the Agatha that was there at the beginning. So now we're seeing maybe the real Agatha. Me, with the episode with her mother, I thought that she was more kind in her heart, but maybe she's not. Maybe she's used to be like this to survive. You know what I mean? She killed so much witches before too. That's what she was saying.
Killing is second nature to her.
Is it all a front though? Is it all a front though?
Well, that's the thing. When he goes on Google or
right now,
or what do they call it? Looky? Yeah. They called it Looky or something.
Yeah,
when he goes on there to search her up, there's this kind of aspect of like I want to find the right word for it, but it feels very modern storytelling. Like, oh, he went on Google and he reverse image searched her face and she popped up like 18 billion times. It's a little bit like, I feel like what would have served this better was having him go to a library with his partner and like really look for texts that show her, and then kind of using this one photo to then kind of like scour, right? And then more illustrations rather than she's in the background of all these photos. Like, I feel like we were going to get to the point where she's just going to be in the background of like the JFK assassination or something, you know? It's like, yeah, Agatha was there. It's Agatha all along, you know? So I could dig that. I can dig it. I just need...
Yeah, but you're right, man.
I just need some, like, I think cohesiveness to what her role is ultimately. Like, is she this anti-hero character? Is she meant to be the ultimate villain of the series? Like, I feel like she's not meant to be the villain, but we're bordering on that with the storyline. And Rio, you know, who might be Death, I feel like her role is meant to be that of the ultimate villain. But that tension between her and Agatha, the fact that they're kind of linked, there's that bond, and she doesn't have that same bond with Billy, even though she was in WandaVision and all that. I feel like it is showing that these characters are trying to, I think, differentiate from each other and branch out and maybe not become like buddy heroes at the end of the day. In a way that I would like.
I think I wouldn't like it that Rio would arrive at the end and it's like, haha, I find you back, let's fight. I wouldn't like that. I think, like, if it's that the plan right now, they're gonna lose me on that for sure. Like, and that's the part of it that I'm scared a bit, is there's not enough time with the, I think it's 4 episodes now that we've
got left. Yeah,
or 3 maybe, I don't know.
4. I think we got 9 episodes. So I think we got 4 left.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the 6th episode, so 3 left.
That's a good point.
So it goes fast, bro. So
why did I think this was episode 5? It felt like we were at the halfway.
We're at episode 6. So.
Yeah, I think the reveal happening at the end of the last episode, and then this kind of carrying over into that, and then the episode ending at the exact moment that last week's did, kind of in terms of like movement. It doesn't set the show back, but it definitely leaves you with like, how are you going to wrap this up in the next hour?
Exactly.
And
exactly. That's where I am right now. Like, it's gonna go. It needs to go fast and concise. I
could see it working ultimately.
And we didn't see some story yet.
Yeah, that's
at
the
the
thing.
End of that road. So I don't know. Like,
we're missing backstories.
We're gonna finish. Yeah. We're gonna finish like on our. Sur notre fin, you know what I mean? We're gonna want more maybe at the end. We're not gonna be fully.
I think that's a given.
Satisfied.
I think that's a given because this is the first exploration fully of like the witch side of the MCU, and I feel like 9 episodes, even at 30 minutes, 35 minutes a pop, you're a bit like, I could do for a full hour. Like, if you told me that this show was 1 hour every episode, 9 episodes, I could have really seen like, and I think that's when it would have gotten a little more formulaic in terms of plot line, because then I think you would have to you'd be like, okay, this is episode 3, it's going to be Jen's episode. This is episode 7, this is going to be Lilia's episode. And I feel like that's the sort of thing that can be a little formulaic, and I think that's what they're trying to avoid with this, which so far the formula has been kind of upended, but now it's kind of like, what are you going to replace it with, and is it better?
Yeah, is it better? If not, for me, I think it's better to continue with the rules. You know what I mean?
What we've already established.
Exactly. That's what happened. So that's it, I think, for me, Kai. I don't know you.
For me, it's really just I really just want to say I'm enjoying the show a lot. I think there are definitely critiques that are constructive and they need to be made. But I feel like overall what the goal of the show is trying to be in subverting what you expect with the magic side of the MCU, while also giving all these characters some room to breathe a little bit. I think it's doing a really good job of that. And I really like this introduction for Wiccan. I just really hope that he feels as grandiose as they're trying to make him out to be. I think he deserves the spectacle and the scale. You are the Scarlet Witch's son, so I want to see it. I want to see you throw down.
Yeah. Let's see the big transformation. That's where we're going to be able to really evaluate it. For me, really, I hope it's not going to be another, and I call that like this, it's an avocado film. So what I mean by that is an avocado is good, and it's good, but the day that it turns, it's disgusting. You cannot eat an avocado that turns.
I would argue you'd oxidize.
Me, Disney, well, the brown stuff and everything. Like, for me, Disney, that's what happens a lot. Like, it's good, and that episode just switched everything, and I'm out of it. And I hope that they're not gonna do that. I hope that they're gonna go in.
I think I'll take it.
I'll
take it a step further for Carlo. He cut the avocado. He ate one half. It was great. He left the other half in the fridge. Didn't wrap it up in foil. Came back to him the next day, and it was brown. He was like,
exactly.
Dang, nabbit oxidization.
And that's my problem with Disney in general.
I think it's a fair point. I think Disney overall has had a lot of.
There's a lot of avocado syndrome.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely had some duds. Let's put it like that. But
all right, guys.
Real talk.
Thank you guys being there. Let's finish that up right now.
Yes, sir.
It's the Crossover Cinema Podcast. I'm Carlo.
And I'm Kaya, y'all. You already know what it is. Tune in next time when we review the next episode of Agatha All Along. Ciao, y'all.